We are live. Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, 4 nerds by nerds, hanging out with these nerds.
Nathan
NerdarchistTed.
And we're doing the thing. It's the weekly wrap. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about.
It's Saturday. Woohoo!
Yes.
Huh. Do you have that stack of books over here?
I do. It's right there.
Perfect. we got giveaway stuff to talk about. We got other giveaway stuff to talk about. We got free stuff in the...
Well, you said giveaway twice. We only got one giveaway to talk about.
Well, giveaway stuff.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So, what is it? Critical...
Cinematic Environs.
No, that's the series. That's the name of the series.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Critical Hit Publishing, I think, is the name of...
Yes. Critical Hit Publishing. DeVay Breon Jackson on the cover of this one.
There's a huge stack. Just pull out the whole stack.
Oh, you want the whole stack?
Let's pull out the whole stack.
Oh, jeez.
We're just going to work the stack.
Yeah.
So, boom.
Boom. So, yeah, DeVay was kind enough to send us a stack of his cinematic environs. Now, like, you guys can see how thick that bad boy is. Like, his thing is the exploration pillar of the game. As you can see, he's done a bit of writing on it. So he sent us a bunch. We're going to take a look at this stuff. At some point, it's going to go to the giveaway pile, and we'll be giving away some of these. So you guys will be able to check them out.
So there's seven different environs here. Blasted lands, aquatic depths, aerial reaches, desert wastes, mountains, Arctic lands, and survival. So there's a lot of fun stuff. So if you're looking to get into a more of the exploration avenue of the game, these are just full of stuff to be able to work with.
Yeah, and Alex Gillette, I think Rob Davis and DVJ are all part of the Critical Hits, and they're good dudes. So, it was cool that they sent us stuff. We're going to send stuff, put it in the giveaway pile, so you guys will be able to check it out, or just go over to Critical Hit Publishing. They are on DriveThruRPG for sure. If you just search Cinematic Environs, you'll be able to check it out.
Okay, so one more thing before we get off of this topic. Super thumbs up. There's actual real survival stuff in here that I've used before.
Oh yeah, dude. Alex Gillette lives in a freaking hurt.
Oh really?
He's a homesteader.
Oh man, that makes this 10 times cooler now.
yeah. Like they're
oh, I've made this before. Oh, I've made this before.
Nate's now saying, well, he did say we're gonna put it in the giveaway pile eventually.
I'll have to give it a read.
I'm not saying you could use this stuff to survive in the wilderness with, but just not saying.
But I've seen it in survival books before. Some of it.
So, and then at some point in time, we're gonna share what we will be giving away that first week of May. That's down also. Yeah.
So we'll get to that eventually. But we definitely want to point that stuff out so you guys can go check it out. And we want to thank them for sending it in. Like I said, I've had two of the three of them on the channel for live chats. I really wanted to get Alex on because of... Oh, no, I've only had one of them. Darn it. I've been trying to get DVJ, but he's got a muggle job that gets in the way. But he has been featured in some of our Marvel superhero games. He played the character Darwin. So he has been on the channel. But Alex, I'm like, I remember when I first encountered his YouTube channel. I'm like, dude lives in a yurt, and he used to have some kind of high-end corporate job, and he's like, I'm not doing this anymore. Just gonna live off the land and blacksmith and stuff.
So I think that's Nate's ambition.
Yeah, that's what I want to do eventually with internet.
So I
can still do my muggle job.
I want to go off the grid, but I still need the grid. Yeah. It's a very tricky place to traverse. So what is it? Next week is International Tabletop Day?
I think so.
I think next Saturday. Usually happens on a Saturday. And I think it's actually usually the third Saturday of April. So that would make sense. And for that, we'll be playing my game, hopefully. I don't know if the Gobblos are going to be busy or not. That seems like a big day for Gobblos.
Yeah, we'll have to see what's going on there.
With Cardboard Fortress. But in some form or another, we'll probably be playing my game. And... Oh, that's right. We're doing something for that, right? We're giving away for free a free month of our Patreon rewards. and we're giving it away right now. It's actually on the website for free. There's a link in the description where you can go to our store and download it for free. Because we're like, you know what? What's the point in releasing it on Tabletop Day if you're not going to then be able to use it in your games if you wanted to?
Anytime you're talking about prepared material and that kind of stuff, like, it's best to give it a read-through before you're going to use it. So, we're going to give it away today.
Nordic Dragon's back. I've not seen Nordic Dragon in a while. It's one of our people from Sweden, I think.
Cool.
The live chats have not had enough Sweden in them of late.
Yeah, so we'll be giving that away. It's on the website. You can locate it in our products, our digital products section.
Yeah, Curator of Souls. And that's based off of the, what was it, Museum of the Macabre?
Yes.
That we did a video on a couple months ago.
And we sent that off to
Sean McGovern.
Sean McGovern. Thank you, Dave.
Power Score RPG blog and YouTube channel.
And he said, well, based on what you guys wrote, this is my vision of it. And really impressed with what he came up with.
Yes, absolutely. And there's more stuff to come. I mean, we were just looking at the first rough sketch we got back for one of the other patron rewards we're going to be doing later on, and we're super happy with that. So we're definitely trying to step up the patron game and make sure you guys get more bang for your buck and add more value over there. And that between having actual writers take our ideas and write them, and, you know, Doug doing all the editing and stuff, I think is...
Nerder Doug says it's the 28th, so we got 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
we're early, but it'll be out there so you guys can check it out.
Peruse it, see what you want to take from it, see what you want to do with it.
Mr. L, the museum was a good idea, at least on paper. If you like the idea on paper, you're gonna really like the idea when it comes to you on electronic form paper. So
I was at a museum last night.
that is true. You were sleeping with the Sphinx watchfully looking over you.
I was. My son's scout group went to the University of Penn Museum, and the program that they have is called 40 Winks with the Sphinx. So I was sleeping on a nice hard stone museum floor with the Sphinx, looming down over up above me, looming down, looking on. So yay, mummies didn't kill me.
Not that kind of museum,
huh? Tea time with Toby. Thank you for the draconian flu, by the way, Nerdarchist Dave. Anytime. You're not the first person to mention that to me. I remember Ty Johnson also thanked me for that. Not because his character came down with it, but everybody else in the party did. And they all wanted his gold. And, the draconian flu, I think, that's one we're going to have to pull out, or it's going to get lost to the annals of time. I don't know if we ever put that on any of the rewards.
I made a similar one called Dragon Sickness.
Oh, okay.
And it might have done something similar.
That flu's no joke.
But yeah, we'll have to grab it and make sure it becomes part of the wider internet.
Yes, Doug, he commented about my DM filling with ideas. Well, one of the things we did was we took a mini class. We're talking like 20-30 minutes on hieroglyphics. So I'm like, yeah, this is something that I could use if I wanted to get into more descriptive stuff, or if I wanted to actually take the time and hand make scroll type props. I think I could do something with. So there was definitely D&D thoughts going in the mind while I was there.
You guys molested a mummy too, right?
We didn't molest the mummy, but there was a real mummy there that you were allowed to touch.
Where on the doll did the nerd touch you?
A whole horde of 10-year-old kids was allowed to touch it. Then I think it's fine.
Yeah, it says you're not the mummy. Mummification is not consent, Ted. I'm just saying.
You take that up with the curators then.
So Elfbait says, did it animate, and were you accosted by Stonehead for gum?
They're
just sinking.
Night at the museum.
Yeah.
They did do a flashlight tour Yeah, so they brought everybody into the one room and, okay, we're going to go on this tour and blah, blah, blah. And right before they split off into groups, saying that the lights are now out in the museum, like the person speaking, her radio goes off and it's like, oh no, one of the mummy is missing from his spot. So, like, the whole idea is, like, we're walking around in the dark and supposedly there's a mummy out there. And the one father, leans over to me. He's like, if some dude is dressed up like a mummy, reaches out and tries to scare me, I'm punching him square in the face.
That is a danger with jump scares. You may get punched in the face.
And sadly, or, not sadly, however we want to look at it, there was no mummy to be found. No one tried to reach out and scare us.
No one got punched in the face?
No one got punched in the face, but we did have to deal with the younger crowd that was there, like, Timmy, because for whatever reason, that's what they named the mummy. So they're shining their flashlights all over, just calling out to Timmy, not caring about anything else that's going on. So that part was a challenge.
Well, they need to find the lost mummy. So...
Well, that's interesting. KB says, I could see Ted wrapped in toilet paper walking around.
Well, a couple rolls of toilet paper, a little bit of time, so it could be a Nate.
Are you well stocked with toilet paper, Ted?
Stop moving, Ted. We're trying to get this done.
We could be doing this live. Yes, we'll compensate you.
Yeah, so what else do we got going on? Tonight we got your game, right?
We got my game, and, hopefully between now and then I'll actually prepare some material.
Well, you could have a group of adventurers try and stop my diabolic plans.
Oh, that's good. Somebody's got plans. Because I keep asking, and people are like, yeah, we want to do this eventually. And
I want to grow my special mushrooms so I can make plant servants.
You want to make plant servants?
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, I was looking at the Elven High Magic, and there's a lot of things in there you would probably like.
There is indeed.
A lot of permanent stuff. And crazy. Don't you have that crazy fruit that doesn't exist anywhere else?
Yeah.
You could totally make it the whole grove of it.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Okay, where's this Elven High Magic?
Okay.
It's right there!
I was actually thinking about being nice and giving him that 8th level spell. It's a cleric spell. I mean, I think it's a cleric spell.
A lot of them are cleric, druid, sorcerer.
I know there's some that are like specific to druid. I'm like, well,
and then there's
I need there's a lonely place in my spell repertoire where Blade Barrier has been thrown away. I haven't felt something that fits just right yet.
That's your choice.
Yeah. Why did you get rid of Blade Barrier anyway? It's such a great spell.
Blade Barrier is solid.
Yeah, it's solid when you hit it until it disappears when it breaks your own concentration because you took the damage from it.
I mean, come on.
Actually, wasn't that when you were passing your concentration saves for the Blade Barrier?
I think the one time he passed his save
and then got thrown into it. Yeah,
but he's like, I'm going to choose to let it go.
Yeah, I'm going to let this go. Yeah, tentacled arm pushing me towards it like a cheese grater.
He just holding his face to the Blade Barrier. Oh my God! Why do you hate me so?
Yeah. It's like because I'm a nature god and you used metal. Like, oh, I'll never use it again. I've learned my lesson. I'm never using that spell again.
Those are fun.
Oh, we got DBJ in the house.
Oh, hey, what's up, man?
It was our pleasure to show them off, and thanks for sending them. So, tea time with Toby. Speaking of spell selections, I can't seem to find the rules when clerics get new spells on level ups. There's just a big chart, and they get to pick whatever spells they want to prepare for the day.
Yeah, clerics don't have a list of known spells. They have access to everything. So when you prepare your spells, when you pray, when you finish a long rest, you choose what goes into your known pile, and or not known.
Your prepared pile.
Yeah, correct. Your prepared pile. And so clearly, when you level up and have access to new spell slots, well, you want to shift around because you're still only going to have so many that you can prepare each day.
Yeah, it's like your wisdom modifier plus something.
It's like your half your level or something along those lines.
Yeah.
There's a formula in
I'm a cleric, I don't remember, so.
I'm a cleric, and I don't remember off the top of my head.
I'm a wizard, it's the same one, and I don't remember. So
you're just your divine domain spells don't count towards your prepared. So
Yeah, that's nice if you have a good list. Like you just always have those spells.
those ones are always considered prepared and don't count against your list. So ching, always a good thing.
Yeah, Circle of the Land druids and clerics do fairly well, or any of the other druids if they get spell lists. You get access to more and unlimited choice. You just don't get the big kaboom spells.
The kaboom.
Let's see. Aaron Parks. Would any of you allow a feat to shape the area of a spell? Possibly. It depends on what the requirements are, the exact wording, and is it going to step on the toes of the sorcerer, who kind of it's like their thing is moving around their spells and doing stuff with them.
Well, like you want to be able to turn like a blast and like a circle to a line, and so that's not able to be done yet. So a feat that does that.
Well, I mean, there was shape spell in 3rd edition that allowed you to do some of that stuff. So like you could really play around with it, but is it like, are you looking to have Fireball be like a lightning bolt? Because you could just say, well, I want to have fire stream or whatever you want to call it, and have a gout of flame travel in the same length of a lightning bolt. It's the same spell, same effect. Or are you talking about like, oh, well, I want my fireball to explode in a square as opposed to a circle, or I want it to, explode out elongated. And,
Starburst.
Like that kind of stuff gets more complicated. It's a lot easier when you conform to an already pre-existing spell template, for lack of a better word. And
being able to change that on the fly, like right before you make the decision to cast a spell, is way better than having to lock it in. For example, making that fire stream and saying, I'm a wizard and I made a fire stream spell. It's just basically a lightning bolt that does fire damage. So you got to consider that as well. Like it's really advantageous to be able to shape the spell to the need at that very moment. But it's probably only one of the only ways that's really useful, is to be able to change it on demand when you need it.
So Mr. L wants to know, you think we're going to get a full Forgotten Realms world setting in the future? Nope. It does not seem to be the way... They've proved me wrong in the past, but it does not seem to be the way they're doing their releases. And I even feel like the earlier releases, they've kind of codified it since then and changed it up a little bit. So it's going to be like adventures, source books, is pretty much. But, while Forgotten Realms is the default setting, it doesn't seem like they're going to be really specific with settings. That being said, I did hear some rumors for Dark Sun. The question is, though, is how will they do it? I don't think they'll do a campaign setting. I think it's going to be like they did with Curse of Strahd. Like maybe they'll do an adventure and then open up the DM's Guild.
They're going to,
That's bizarre. I mean, I'd love to see a Dark Sun adventure.
Well, I mean, you can get most of the information that you need for Dark Sun by doing it through an adventure set. Or, I mean, Sword Coast Legends had a ton of info. It was like a giant info dump plus other stuff. So there was rules and things like that, but there was also deities and things and all kinds of stuff in there. So I think you got a lot of Forgotten Realms stuff by getting the Sword Coast Legends, right?
Uh-huh.
They're playing with emojis in the chat now.
So I would think if you're going to do Dark Sun more in the style of Sword Coast Legends, you'd have the major information points, the alterations to whatever classes needed to be done, or the addition of any archetypes like Templar.
Right.
And then you'd have the major monsters that are required to kind of give you that Dark Sun feel. Probably something for changing monsters into psychic creatures. And
but I mean, you'd have to have a handful of the base monsters. You'd have to have how do you handle Templars, Preservers, Defilers. We'd have to have access to Psionics in its full entirety in order to make Dark Sun be Dark Sun.
Unless they're not as worried about that, or they're just going to release like, oh, here's the Mystic class, and with that adventure, here's some blurbs on a Warlock. Here's a Warlock Patron Pact for your Templar
called the Dragon King.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I think the Warlock is a great fit for the Templar.
Oh, definitely.
In my opinion,
I wonder if they would have like here is just Sorcerer King, or whether you'd be like here's tier, here's the different Sorcerer Kings that are there.
I think it would just be one size fits all.
Yeah, I don't think they're different enough. Or it might just be, they might give you a generic bonus spell list or something, and then say, here's a bonus spell list for these other guys. Maybe. That's the most I could see it happening, is giving bonus spells.
I could imagine, like, the city-states might be actually adventuring sites, quote unquote, right? So you get a bunch of that city-state, you get you get the information about the who's who that you would need, and depending on how many of them they did, like, they might even cover most of them,
right?
Depending on how far they venture, they might do rules for, like, survival, like they did with Tomb of Annihilation,
right?
They might add some of the other races in there. A couple, some monsters the same way they do with the other books. I mean, they're all, what are they, like 200 pages or so?
Yeah, and if you based it, let's say the adventure starts on a caravan route. Well, the caravan route can go to every place, right? If you think about it like that. So you could be like, just visit all the city-states.
Oh, and then Nerdarchy Doug, considering what Ted just said, I am hesitant to believe they would do it like that. The model is avoid people needing particular non-core books to run games. So, and that's what I agree to. I don't think they're going to do. That's why there's probably isn't going to be just a Dark Sun book or an Eberron book. I think they're going to stick with the model that they've been doing, but who knows? They've proven me wrong before. I didn't think we'd get an OGL again.
Right.
Well, it's nice to have it.
Jose Soria says, Jeremy Crawford has said on numerous locations that you can play any setting, just use the older edition setting guides. And, like, I agree with a lot of that, too. I mean, you're going to have to make tweaks, but I feel like there are some easy things. Like, the Templar is either a cleric or a warlock. And the warlock actually fits better.
Yeah, and we're playing a Spelljammer game on Fridays, 1:30 Eastern Standard Time, with Nerdarchy Doug as the DM. And I think it's just a really good adaptation of Spelljammer to 5th edition. And it's not like... It was so long ago, I haven't played 2nd edition Spelljammer, so it's like, yeah, this is kind of how I remember it. It sounds cool with 5th edition rules. It works.
So, T-Town with Toby, question, speaking of non-core books, what would you guys recommend after getting the main 3 core books? If you're a DM, Volo's Guide to Monsters. If you're a player, Xanathar's Guide
I agree.
to Everything.
Absolutely agree.
I think that one's actually really easy. Now, that might change next month, at the end of next month.
When Morning Canaans comes out.
Right, we might change that up a little bit, but I'm not sure. For right now, I think it's a pretty easy divide. So although I will say with Volo's Guide, like if you DM and you're a player, Volo's Guide you're gonna get a little more bang for your buck because that has player options and DM options, whereas Xanathar's Guide is really heavy on the player options. The DM options you get, I don't feel like you super need.
Yeah, they're not as strong.
Well, I mean, there's rules for magic items, there's extra carousing, there's stuff DMs are going to use, but it's more, I mean, it's got like 30-something archetypes in it, so it's got a lot of player interest in that direction.
Yeah, I just mean from the crunch standpoint, like a lot of that is kind of like fluff that a DM can just like wing easily, where like actually making up things that are going to affect the game, that's always a little more trickier, especially for the player side of things.
No, yeah, the balancing of the archetypes.
Yeah, I mean, you screw the pooches the GM on the GM side of things. It's relevant for a couple sessions at most.
So Aaron says, going back to the Dark Sun thing, Warlock with cleric spell access rather than mage for your Templar.
Cleric with...
So you're a Warlock, but you have access to the cleric spell list.
Yeah, because Warlocks do have that overall otherworldly feel to them. And I think because the Sorcerer Kings are supposed to be taking kind of the place of the deities,
yes,
it makes sense that they'd be more clerical in nature. And I don't know if you can just switch that around just by adding cleric spells to, like, doing the bonus. I don't think there's enough spells in the bonus list to... But Warlock has a really nice mechanic built into it for...
Yeah, that's true.
The spells and the invocations. And you can also get, out of one group, you can get more of a fightery type thing, more of a spellcastery type thing, and more of a, like a minions kind of type thing out of it. All in one class, while linking them and saying Templars are a cleric domain. That really, like, pushes them towards one concept.
Right.
So, oh my god, I can't. There's too many vowels here. Sio Mazias Convazazna. I think this guy is from Enzo Baranzan. But what about reskin some archetypes to get the Sonic feel? Like Eldritch Knight, Arcane Trickster, etc. isn't ideal, but it's better than nothing. And sorry for butchering your username, but I suck at talking.
Reskinning is always a great idea. I mean,
I got a better idea. Go to Nerdarchy.com and look up all the Sonic rules that Nate the Nerdarch created and kind of did a lot of that for you already.
Yeah, I reskinned Sorcerer for the most part. And what I did was use that as a template and then built off of that. Some of it needs some rebalancing now that I've looked back at it after 3 years of playing 5th edition. But for the most part, I'm really satisfied with using it to kind of like as a guide for doing your own homebrew stuff based off of making archetypes off of the core archetypes, as well as how to like envision psionics through the 5th edition lens.
Bam.
Cool. Bam.
Bam. So what are we're almost at the halfway point. What are we giving away next month?
All right, so let's get into that here, Nate. You can hold up.
Yeah, I will not only hold it, I will look at it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's why I assumed the...
How do you deal with this small print?
I read it.
No.
You. All right.
Preposterous.
So we have got from Dungeon Doodles a nice cool art pack. There's a handful of different things that are in here. A lot of cool things. There's a sticker and whatnot. Awesome stuff. From Nord Games, we have the Game Master's Toolbox, Treasure Decks, challenge rating 1 through 4, and the Game Master's Toolbox Ultimate NPC's Skullduggery high-level character cards. They fill over. From Easy Roller Dice, we have a set of reddish pink dice and a dice tray.
Ooh, which one is this? Oh, this is the serpent. The serpent eating its tail, which is really cool.
So, in, roughly 3 to 4 weeks, we will pick a, lucky winner from our list and ship this stuff out.
And how do they get on the list, Ted?
Well, if you are a Patreon supporter, or even $1 a month, you are automatically entered in a chance to win said stuff. As well as if you don't want to go that route, you can head over to the website, go to our contests and giveaways section, click on that, find the form, and mail that to our P.O. box. And each entry is, usable once. I take the list of everyone who's mailed something in, the list of everyone who's, supported us on Patreon. I squish them together. I hit my random number generator. I pop out a line. And then we announce it and give it away.
Yeah, I'm going to clarify just a little bit because I missed something. So you can put in one entry for 1 month.
Yes.
And one entry per envelope. So basically just send us one thing every month that you want to be in on the month that you want to be in it. Not like all at once for the entire year right now.
Correct.
You can, but we will throw them all away.
They won't count. We won't count them for the month.
It's much easier to just give us $1 over on Patreon than it is to go through all that. That being said, like our giveaways are usually $30 and up for it, and generally, if you're at the bottom tier, then you could, if you win once, basically your Patreon support is paid for itself years over.
For like 3 years plus.
Yeah.
The last giveaway we did had an MSRP of over $80, and we ship it out, worldwide, so it doesn't matter where you are.
Stephen Jameson, would you guys rather drink a bottle of scotch with me or get crushed in some chess? I would rather crush you in chess while drinking your scotch. I have not played chess in a while, though.
Can we play chess and drink scotch? I think that could be an evening.
I've played chess against my kids recently, but I don't think they're going to be, the quite adequate challenge that you would be there. But I would definitely choose to get my ass kicked in chess than drink scotch.
Both of these things.
Yeah, I'm with Nate. Both of these things, why not?
Well,
I don't drink often, them, but once in a while, sure, why not?
Can I take the scotch and give it to my wife? She's a whiskey girl.
Every time you lose a piece, take a shot. That might work as well. Nordic Dragon has a random topic. I really like spell cards. I wish we could get official magic item cards. Currently, I use Magic Set Editor and make ones I need by hand.
Yeah, that's kind of cool to me. If I were to use cards for magic items, that's where I would have to go, because 90% of the magic items I give out are things that I make. I rarely just reach into the book and say, you get a, look at this, Ring of Protection.
And I use the custom magic item creator thing on D&D Beyond for making custom homebrew content. And it's usually I alter an item that already exists and just put in a few extra doodads or take some things out.
But that is always cool. Play aids are always cool and useful for the most part. Like, I have all the spell cards, but I always forget to bring them with me, or figure out my spell book. Now it's just like I just put it all on D&D Beyond and keep it there.
Do they have all the new doodads anyway, like the newest spells?
You can
probably get
get the Xanathars, and
I have not though.
Yeah, it's one thing. You get all those spells that are in Xanathars, and then you can just sort them into the appropriate caster pile.
So also, it looks like the new series we're messing around with. You guys seem to like that, so that's kind of cool. Playing D&D without certain party roles. Also, too, it was weird because someone said that one of the comments was something like, "Tank's not a thing in D&D." I'm like, yeah, it was a thing, but we didn't call it that, but it's always been a thing.
Yeah, it's the guy who can take the most amount of damage. Or
we always refer to it as the meat shield.
Yeah, the meat wall, the meat shield.
So Doug says, I like card-based accessories, but I play online for the most part, so not many opportunities to use them. Yeah, a lot of times it is kind of like depends on how you're doing your gaming stuff as well. Is going to be a huge factor. So you said you got a plan for Ted's game tonight?
Yeah.
My plan is to figure out what the rest of my axe does.
Yeah, I'd like to figure out what... I'm going to do some legend lore stuff for my spear. And I'm going to do some experimentation with making plant monsters out of people.
See, Kienata, I would argue with you. MMOs adopted it from RPGs. The adventuring party already existed. Most of what video games have done is based around D&D. Essentially, they took those ideas and expanded upon them.
I mean, there was decades of hardcore play before the video game market really took off.
Well, it became advanced enough to support that. And that being said, like in our own personal games, we don't actually follow that. When I added a new player to my latest game, they're like, "Well, what do you guys need?" I'm like, "I don't care what they need. Just play what you want." Yeah, the Scarlet Sisterhood is the best example of a game that has had most of its 50 sessions run without party roles filled, and it works just fine.
Well, I mean, you're a great DM. You've got a spectacular cast to work with, so I mean, you make it work.
I fear for their lives sometimes, but I don't know their characters that well, so it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I feel for the virtue of my NPCs at times.
Yes, there's that as well.
KB, I've always called Arteg Mr. Arrow Catcher. That can be true too. That happens.
Yeah, regardless of what you call it, there are party roles. Shield wall, meat shield. And then there's people that are buffing or debuffing, and they kind of standardized all that stuff, I think, over time, and now people tend to use the words that everyone understands.
Well, it's not surprising that people that work in code would codify the terms and things like that. Yeah. But no, yes, you're correct, Kienata. The terminology, was codified and defined more heavily in video games, because if you went from table to table, we all did this, I feel like, but we just called them different. We would call it different things.
But I mean, also when you get into like the heavy angle of, well, we're going to create a group to go take out a monster jointly, the monster is created. There is no GM sitting there abdicating, oh, well, they don't have a this, so I'm going to, pull back on X, Y, or Z. It's just code. It's going to react to what, oh, here's a threat. I'm going to do what I do. If you don't have the person with a lot of hit points to stand up front and keep swinging, the healer to stand behind him and keep him standing, like, things are going to fall apart. So the roles became maybe further defined and properly named, but they were there prior to that.
Yeah, like Elfbait said, we called them by class, except for the warrior class was the only one, because that was the only one you could substitute, right? If you didn't have a fighter, the paladin worked fine, but goddamn, you needed to roll a 17 for charisma to be a paladin and be human, right? So it was hard to get a paladin. I believe Barbarian and Ranger were both in first edition. I know Ranger was.
I don't think Barbarian came until later.
It was in another book.
Okay.
The Unearthed Arcana in AD&D, I think came out in first edition. I don't think it was second edition yet. The old wizard over top of the thing. I think that was still first edition, and in there you got the Cavalier, and I think the Cavalier and the Barbarian were both in there. Cavalier for sure. But so you had these other fighter type classes that could fill in for the straight up fighter, where like mage, you really didn't have other options. There was the magic user, for the thief. There was just a thief. A bard didn't exist. Like back then, a bard was like this amalgamation of other classes that you had to dual class into eventually building it into the bard.
It's like bard was a super class back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody could have psionics if you rolled the right percentile dice.
And your thief was pretty much your problem solver. The disarming, the sneaking, there's party roles. There's like the 4 classes, basically. So what, you didn't need to name them anything else because there's only 4 of them. It's not like you have like 15 archetypes for warriors. So you could say, well, are you building a tank or a striker? Which way are you going with that?
Yeah, but I guess my point is, like, for the other 3 roles, there weren't any real choices. It was like you're gonna play that class, and that class was the only thing that really got the job done.
Yeah, and that class did specific things that no other class was doing.
With 5th edition, things have bled into a lot of different ways. Literally, the thief was the only one who could open locks and deal with traps. Now, like, your background choice can give you thieves' tools, and I think there's two backgrounds that give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Urchin and criminal.
So it's like you really got the ability to be like, you know what? I don't need a thief. I've got an urchin, or I've got someone who used to be a criminal.
Well, that's even better about that. You can run the thieves game now without the whole party being thieves. You can mix it up. Like the characters that actually get those skill sets, like maybe your rogue or your bard who can have those skill sets, they can actually not take the criminal or urchin backgrounds, but like your fighters and casters, they could, and you could have like a well-rounded party that all have some ability to like sneak around.
And I wonder if you were like a dwarven locksmith, guild artisan, you could have thieves' tools probably, I'm thinking.
I would allow that.
Yeah, I would too.
Because then you'd have the smithing for the locks, and then you have the way to unlock the locks.
Or a rock gnome tinker.
Yeah.
As your guild, you could absolutely do that, I think, as well.
I make child toys, and I break into buildings.
I make child toys that break into buildings.
Ooh, there we go.
Even better. So I feel like that was always a fun game idea, but then it's like everyone's playing the same thing. But now in 5e, it's really easy to mix and match.
I love you too, Ben.
Hey Ben, do we need to add a Patreon reward level for you to go on a date with Ted? Willing to do it.
Now they're talking, about the races as classes.
Basic D&D.
Dwarf was right.
I went to play the elf.
Still like the dwarf.
Of course you do.
And the halfling.
Halfling wasn't a class, though. It was a race, though, wasn't it?
Yes, they were both.
Oh, okay.
And basic. We're gonna have to bust out a set of basic D&D and just play basic. Have you played basic?
I think I've played once, like one, almost like a board. It felt like a board game. We fought troglodytes.
because so I'd say like I
So
feel
that
like
might not have even been basic. That might have been like old AD&D.
I read a lot of first, but I never played first. I played second. So
yeah, halflings were a class in there. It was hobbits briefly. Then I got sued. There was a couple. There was a couple things that were in there briefly. Hobbits, they tried using them. They tried using Cthulhu. So like
Too soon for Cthulhu.
Yeah. So so if you got a certain edition of deities and demigods, it actually has the old that stuff in there.
Ooh.
Also, I think maybe like the Elric mythology is a mythos as well.
Okay.
So yeah. But no, basic. Some people mistake basic as being like the predecessor to D&D, but it's not. It was actually came out afterwards, the box sets, and they did the whole. Like we had Frank Metzler on the channel a while ago, and he actually wrote all those. But it was actually just an easier way to get into D&D with just the basic rules.
Okay, so they had D&D, and then they had the basics afterwards.
There was the basic set, the red box. There was the blue box, which was the expert set, and then they had the green box, which I forget what that one was called. And then there was like a gold box. There might be one more, but like the gold box was Immortals. So like each box set would cover, certain level stretches. Mm-hmm. And then they would like kind of build on the rule set for each one. But it was still, you're playing the fighter, the magic user, the thief, the cleric. And then there was halfling, dwarf, elf. I don't think they ever had a gnome or anything like that. And like a halfling was kind of like a fighter, would be like a fighter rogue. A dwarf was like a fighter cleric. And the magic user the elf was a magic user fighter. So they were all kind of like their own like multi-class options almost. Expert, master, and immortal. And they had the best freaking art on them too. And that's also like because the box sets were all full color for the boxes, and the art was amazing. To this day, the green box is one of my favorite pieces of art, and it is the green dragon and the knight on the front of it, and the sword is just like freaking. The sword is like the size of the knight wielding it, but half as big over again. So
when you gotta cleave a dragon neck off, you gotta use a special sword.
That may be really good. We should do that someday. We should get out the basic. We should find a basic set and just play a session or two of basic D&D.
That'd be interesting.
I call the elf.
Mr. L, basic is still out there as rules encyclopedia, and I think you can get it print on demand as well. I mean, unless you want, or you could just go OSR, right? Because the OSR games are basically based off of that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think I'd want to do just the official D&D one.
Yeah.
We should crack open a box, definitely.
So we'll have to go. We'll have to go on the DM's Guild or Drive Thru RPG and see about buying the print-on-demand version.
It'd be interesting.
Maybe
I would think Ted already has some tucked away somewhere.
In the massive assortment of stuff that's in the house somewhere.
You got a treasure trove.
All right, Ted, run up to the attic and go see.
Just remember to jump at the end.
Come crashing to the house.
Well, no, I remember handing you boxes up through a hole in the ceiling.
That is indeed true.
It's probably the easiest way to get them.
Pics or it didn't happen. Oh man! So when is your next game? Your Hold the Mornings
tomorrow at noon.
What level are those guys?
They are, I believe, I said they're 6th now. I think they're 6th now. So they're coming along. It's been like 13 sessions or so.
What level did they start at?
1st. So
nice.
They've been churning it out. I think it's been going like 2 or 3 sessions.
Any fatalities yet?
No one's died. I've had a few close calls.
Those low levels, that's when you can really make it happen.
I don't know. They did fight a bone demon in disguise earlier, and they were 5th level. So, but they had an extra companion that was really lighting into it, so it worked out for them.
Cool.
The One Lazy Guy from Australia. Have you guys read any of the D&D books? I would recommend the Greyhawk Classic series and audiobook 4 books.
I think
1, 3, and 4. And amazingly just like a D&D game. Amazingly just like a D&D. Ted has read them.
Oh, God.
I don't remember if it was you telling me about it or if I had read a little bit of one of them and was like, I can't read this.
The story is not bad, but they fully incorporate the mechanics into the story. And literally, the one character is like, I cannot cast this spell because it is 2nd level, and I can only cast spells up to 1st level. And I'm like, oh, God. This hurts.
I'm going to kill myself with a spoon if I have to read any more of this.
Yeah, so that's kind of rough.
Some of the Greyhawk stuff is pretty good, but when it gets into that stuff, it is painful.
I know. I
just
like the
keep
one
going.
cover. It was like the barbarian with the demon hand.
Yeah.
On the cover looked
Yeah,
badass.
that was great art.
And I like Ted is like, I got to read this, and then it was like terrible.
I will argue. Let's
Is that
say
Mika, I think was the character's name? Correct me if I'm wrong out there.
I will argue for the difference in level being the concept of like tiers of magic or like circles of mage.
Yeah.
So basically, there could literally be that he hasn't been shown any 2nd level spells because he is within the 1st circle of mage.
So
if we take it that way, rather than experience points gaining you levels, and because you're not that level, you can't get it. It's like how you have to like beat up the hierarchical druid or whatever to get his spot. So
Yeah, but
so
it
you
wasn't
actually-
written that way.
Like you actually like legit can't gain the next level as a druid until you slap him around.
But there's a way of presenting the information. You could just as easily say, this spell is too complex. I haven't mastered, this type of magic to be able to make this work.
I agree.
I despise trying to put the term level on a character or on a spell while you're telling a story.
It would be like in the middle of a fight, them announcing die rolls in the book.
Yeah, that's how it feels like. Yeah, I know what you mean.
All right, you've managed to thrust your sword into the belly of the goblin. Do you yell crit?
Yes.
Only if you're LARPing, dude.
That's a 20.
Oh, I found someone else to spar Ted to the death.
Oh,
These are down to the death? What the hell, man?
it's LARPing, so it's okay.
It's okay. It's LARP death.
It's LARP
With
death.
real weapons. So the guy I had on this week does historical European fighting, but Viking style.
Yeah, I was gonna
work out.
I was gonna say, like, I've got no chance. I know, despite the fact that it's been 3 to 5 years at this point in time since I've even really seriously done any sword work or working out. He wants to now pit me against a Viking.
The best
He's
time
not
to
a Viking.
start.
He's just studied it and makes Viking shields.
Okay, he's much closer to being a Viking.
The best way to start and get back up on the horse is go and grab your sword right now and bring it over here and just start holding it.
Am I getting the real blade or the waster?
We have to add a scroll on the screen.
Minutes held or whatever.
Oh no! Ted will fight anyone to the death.
All right, what am I grabbing? Am I grabbing the
heaviest one.
All right.
One for each hand.
He's gonna break stuff when he comes back.
I am not gonna break.
Totally gonna break stuff when he comes back. Nerdator Doug, deadliest warrior at Nerdarchy, Ted versus Viking warrior. They do like 1,000 battles, and it'd be like Ted won one, Viking warrior 999, and it's like the stats are Viking accidentally tripped and fell on Ted's sword.
Well, yeah, it depends.
Right.
Are they
Maybe
using a
that works.
D100 to attack and ones are fails, or a D20? Because that could win a lot more than you think if we're rolling D20s.
So we've got the waster. Typical, wooden...
If you hold it out the other way, they can actually see you. Let's see. There they go.
I don't want to smack anything.
Smack all the things. Whoa.
And then, of course, here is my actual sparring metal sword.
Yes, he named it. You probably can't see the engraving. It says Pinky Bane etched in the blade.
Actually, it was the waster is the one that I think was the culprit of that one. But
So that's Pinky Bane's older brother.
So I do have the stuff. I haven't practiced with them in, sadly, many years. They're not happy with me.
So one lazy guy says, I don't think we're thinking of the same books, Ted. Book 1 was White Plume Mountain, if they're the same.
Well, there was a 6-book series, and some of them had Mika in it. Some of them had another character. It could have very well been. I read the ones with Mika in it, and I don't remember the ones that you're talking about. But
so Uncle Peter, why is Ted so cool? It has plagued him ever sinse his childhood. He just hasn't been able to escape it all through his life.
Did he say why is he so cool?
Yeah,
he's like Achilles, except he was dumped in a vat of whatever makes you really nerdy, and then drawn back out.
I don't think that's ever been a challenge of mine, being so cool. I've always been the nerd. I've always been the one that is kind of shuffled off to the side.
You have a champion.
I have a champion.
Deba, Ted, I will be your LARP champion in your stead if necessary. Yes, go forth and die for Ted.
KP, walk away for 5 minutes only to come back with Ted with the sword.
You never know what's going to happen here on Nerdarchy.
That is true. Aaron Parks, time to take 2 weapon fighting feats.
Oh, no.
Ted.
As much as I like characters that fight with 2 weapons, it's really not practical. Most of the people that really do it end up blocking with one and attacking with the other. I like fighting with the longsword as a two-handed weapon. I think my preferred style is sword and buckler. So a short sword and a small punch shield are the most that I've done, and I felt the best defensive offensive combination. I studied and taught out of what's referred to as historical manual MS 133 for 6 months to a year. So I would read it, I'd study the different maneuvers, and then I would teach it to the Arma class. And I felt the most confident while going through that material.
Tea time with Toby. You should have a giveaway to be Ted Squire. Do it like a reality TV show like The Bachelor.
Ted gives out daggers.
No, Doug says that's not a bad idea. Tea time with Toby. Always looking for ways to diversify the revenue streams.
We're going to do a giveaway, and the prize is someone gets to be my squire.
Yes.
I don't know how
like
that
The
works.
Bachelor. I don't know. Would you give them all like wasters as they're staying? Yeah, as they're staying.
But then it's like Survivor when you get rid of someone, they have to hand it in. Your sword has been sheathed.
Walk away and shame.
Or are we trying to get a Nerdarchy reality TV show of be the next squire?
Uncle Peter, any Nerdcraft news? We are actually in the process of revamping the channel a little bit and figuring out what direction we want to go and what things we want to do. We've got some really cool ideas that we're playing with, but nothing set in stone yet. And I imagine over the next couple of months, you guys are going to see some of that stuff roll out.
Why, Doug? Why?
Because he's a nerder-in-chief. That's why.
Ted versus Viking Warrior. That should just be labeled as pain.
We'll send Ted around the country as different real-life warriors. Can you give him basic training and then spar their best fighters? There was a guy doing that for Wing Chun. He was like going around to all the schools and then playing hands with the different ones.
Yeah, but he was probably confident in his skills.
He was. I don't know that he should have been, but he was. I don't think he had been training that long.
I have, years worth of doing this, like 2 hours a week tops. So
I think if you go around to get slapped around, that's good for training as well. It's its own type of training.
Yeah, I think that'll incur a lot of costs, both financially and physical toll on my body.
Just put enough armor on you, you'll be fine. It'll be like weighted clothing.
Well, I am fortunate enough to actually own now a suit of plate mail armor. So
Nerder Doug, Nerdiest Warrior, that one lazy guy, new show, Nerdarchy's Next Top Squire. Aaron Parks question: Did you all see that show, The Quest, that had a season? It was like matching Survivor with D&D. They also now they have those like something called like an M1. M1 sticks out in my mind for some reason, but it's people fully kitting up in armor and night gear and doing like basically like MMA style full combat.
Oh, is it with the pressure sensor stuff?
No.
Oh, it isn't.
This is with armor and weapons.
Yeah.
And, beating,
We finally come back to gladiators. Excellent.
We're getting closer and closer.
Fall of Rome's not too far away.
Just write in a waiver. Someone passes to make sure they don't get half.
I'm not sure it works that way. I think Ted's more worried about himself anyway.
Yeah, I'm not worried about my competition. I'm thinking if they're willing to fight me, they're going to be fine. I'm going to be the one in the hospital.
Contraction.
I don't think it's going to go that far unless like the person's out to kill me.
Look, we'll put one of those stunt motorcycle suits underneath your armor, and then you put the armor over top. You'll be fine. It's got spinal protection, helmet, everything.
I won't be able to move.
That's what's you got to train. You got to train until you can move.
I don't think you're going to be able to get the helmet on over top of like a motorcycle helmet. Like it's a bucket helm.
That's true. Well,
like this thing will be
really
like
duck.
impact, just like impact gel in there. Just have you sit down and we'll fill it up around you.
We'll give you a snorkel.
Yeah. Something they hit you is like.
So do I have to honestly go and start cleaning up the rest of that armor? Because I legitimately do have one now.
Oh, a full suit of armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to whip it out sometime. But right now, we're pretty much at the end of our show.
No whipping it out, family show. So Ben wants to know how are the Moradane videos coming along?
Slowly, terribly slowly.
Yeah, we do have to get back to putting up gameplays at some point. They've kind of fallen by the wayside. I have so many gameplays to put up. I think so many.
I was having a conversation with somebody offline about that. It's like they'll get up there when they get up there. Really?
Yeah, we need more lackeys.
Anybody want to sign up to be a lackey?
And do like 40 hours of video editing.
It's probably way more than that at this point. 40 hours.
Yeah. Oh, it's about 40 or less.
Also, I guess we'll put out the call. We are looking for volunteer writers over on the website always. So if you have something you want to write about, or if you're the kind of person that likes direction, Nerdarchy Doug could certainly give you that. If you have an itch to scratch when it comes to writing, or maybe you're a fellow content creator and you would like to highlight some of your content. Whether it's doing streams on Twitch or videos on YouTube, you can always embed them into an article as long as you write something up about it and what's going on. If you're writing on your own blog or website, you can always do a guest post on Nerdarchy and put the link there. We do really well with getting traffic, so we will definitely boost the visibility. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to us at nerdarchy@gmail.com, and we will hook you up with Chief and Nerdarchy Doug and get that set up if it is something you're interested in. Again, remember, go to the website. There's a link in the description right now to download a free month of Patreon and check that out to see what kind of goods we're going to be offering in the near future. The next couple of rewards will be by the same writer and author, Sean McGovern, as well as Chief and Nerdarchy Doug has whipped up some really cool stuff as well. And he went a little bit overboard, so you guys are going to get a lot of content from that one.
Yeah, so when you get Doug's month, you're going to damn! Lots and lots of fun stuff, but while you're there picking up the free Patreon awards, feel free to check out any of the other cool digital stuff that we have up there.
Or 3D print it. We also have a full store full of 3D printed products such as Orcus and Elementals, Dungeon Tiles, and with a lot more stuff coming in the near future, guys and gals. But until next time,
stay nerdy.